The worm is turned. With global economic crisis on every front, we're looking at all kind of environmental issues that are going on around the world. With food prices soaring, with precious metal prices soaring to unprecedented levels. I mean, places we had never seen before. With gas prices fluctuating like crazy, with the Middle East in an uproar, and who knows what's going to come of that. We are in a global turmoil around the world. And while I'm not a doomsayer, I think that we need to look at the signs of what's going on around us. And to be honest with you, be the solution and not part of the problem. You know, I'm finding that people are really starting to think about what's going on for the first time. You know, before when I've talked about certain things or I've made mention, people are just kind of like, well, you know, it'll work out. Because it always has. It always has worked out. And to be honest with you, I hope that it still works out. I hope that any preparations that I make and that the friends of mine who are also preparing, and we all agree that we hope that everything we've done is just precautionary and really nothing happens. But that's really a little unrealistic. Now, what are some things that you can do? What are some ways to protect yourself and to build community? You know, it's one of the things that we've done, and Nothing Fancy put out a great video recently about getting to know your neighbors, building a sense of community. We've become so isolated with the internet, with TV at home. We go to the movies in the dark, we have dinner with ourselves, we are isolated from others. You know, my grandfather years ago was the first person in his community to get a TV. But he said before that, he'd have 40 or 50 friends over at the house. They'd sit around, talk, have a big time till about 11 o'clock, you know, and they'd finally kind of finish up and go on home for the weekend. He said when he bought his TV, everybody came in, they sat around, watched TV, and when the programs went off, they sat there, didn't say too many things, and looked at each other and said, well, good night, good night. And he always said that TV stole his friends. Now, TV's a good thing, it's great, computers are great, but we have lost our social skills, we have lost getting to know our neighbors. Now, of course, next is secure your provisions. Make sure you have the things that you need to sustain life, things you need to be able to get by. And again, you need to refer to Zombies Hate Preppers, and there are other videos out there, but you need to have these things together. Listen, the better your neighbor is prepared, the better you're going to be prepared. And the more that you have friends and family and all of these things together on the same page, the better off you're going to be. But you want to surround yourself with people of like mind. The third thing you need to think about is to make your preparations. Make a plan. And, you know, I just made a video, Zombies Hate Preppers, and really it was about things that you need to do to make a plan. But you really need to put together a plan and make it a plan for your home. What if something happens? What if a crisis hits? Do I have the necessary provisions? Number two, make a plan to get home if you're away from home. Maybe your kids are at school, you work somewhere, your wife is somewhere else. Getting home to your provisions. You need to make a plan. You need to think of this ahead of time. What routes are you going to take? What's the best way to get there? What if you get home and there's a problem? Where's a second place to meet? And then, of course, the third is bug out, and that is to evacuate your home. Now, one of the things I want to say specifically about bug out is bug out isn't running out and jumping into the woods and living off the land, because you're not going to do that long. But bug out means to have a retreat, have somewhere that you can retreat to. Maybe it's a friend's place, maybe it's a cabin a long way off on another piece of property. Somewhere you can go that you can survive. Now, one thing that I definitely want to stress is this is no time for panic. And when you see things that are happening around you, it's just time to act. You need to make a plan, you need to get the mindset right, you need to start putting back provisions, and it will bring peace of mind, knowing that if a catastrophe happens, that you're going to be okay and that your family's going to be okay. Then you can move from there. You know, studies have shown that if one can survive any kind of crisis for 72 hours, that their chances of survival increase dramatically. At least, minimum, have a 72-hour plan put together. And then you can go from there. And then if you want to expand it, I personally would recommend that you have at least minimum a 3-month period. And then go from there. Of course, I personally have much more than that, and many people that I know are. But of course, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to need help. And you need to also put that in your plans. You know, many of you know we had a conference here in Greenville, South Carolina a few months ago. We're getting ready to have another one, October 14th and 15th. So you want to put that down on your calendar. I'll be talking a little more about that upcoming pretty soon. You need to get together with people. You need to see that the worm has turned. That there are a lot of people that are now starting to look into being prepared, getting things together. Again, if you don't need it, so what? If you need it, it's the difference between life and death. He wants to survive. That's what he wants to do. And he is looking for a way to do it. But he's going to this concrete. And that's not going to work. We all need a little help to go back into the dirt. Just a little help. And you know what? He's going to be okay. And as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more fun gun reviews and sensible survival. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Worm is turned. We got the dirt turned, and he don't like it. But you know what? They have a natural instinct to get back into the dirt. They have everything they need here. They're ready. Are you ready?